Hi, everybody. This is Paul from Rosie's 1901, 3200 Halls Mill Road in Mobile, Alabama. And we got another special guest. Well, you're not really a guest anymore as many times as you've been here. We got Allie from Law Tigers with us today, and she wanted to come by and tell you about Sturgis.
Yes, and
This
thank you for having me back. I do. I'm more like a co-host
You are
at this
more so,
point.
yeah, more so. That's true. And this was Allie's first at Sturgis. I have been
Yes.
to Daytona a lot. I have never been to Sturgis
Oh
yet.
wow. Oh
No,
Paul, you
no,
would love it.
no.
As much as you appreciate nature and just the view behind a lens, it's just everything is so picturesque out there.
I
It
can
was
imagine.
absolutely beautiful. Yes, I was lucky enough to be asked to be on the Law Tigers setup team. So we canvassed the area around Sturgis for up to 50 miles on each direction. So me and four other guys went out. We were part of the setup team. Then there's a vending team that comes and we tag them in at some point. And then there's a breakdown team. So there's three teams going out there. It was my first time. It was so much work, but it was really just breathtaking views. The pavement, not a groove, not a pothole. And I can't get over it because the winters, I'm from Chicago
Right.
and we have the worst roads in America. And they always say, well, it's because of our winters are so harsh. But what's their excuse? Because they've got pristine pavement, perfect riding conditions, and it was just unbelievable. Almost a religious experience.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yes.
Well, I have talked to many people. My dream trip would be the week before Sturgis is the EAA fly-in Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Oh,
So I'm a pilot, right? So I've always wanted to go to EAA in Oshkosh. Been to the smaller regional air shows that they've had for the EAA. But anyway, I'd like to do that. And then what they do is if you have a ticket to go to Sturgis, EAA gives you a discount, or used to give you a discount if
nice.
you're doing the two. And so I don't know if they still do that or not. But EAA was prior to Sturgis, so I'd like to do that and then go to Sturgis because I've got a friend of mine from here in Mobile that's what he does every year.
Right.
And so he was
Wow,
at
you've got
Sturgis, he
some
was at
cool
EAA.
hobbies, by the way.
Well, and they're all,
By air, by land, you
by
just
sea.
by
I
sea,
have a boat.
of course.
Of course I do. But listen, I wanted to ask one thing because I mean, everybody talk, oh, I got to go to Sturgis. I got to go to Sturgis. And you think sometimes, why Sturgis? That is a long ride to go up there
Yes,
for a week of just people seeing each other riding motorcycles. Daytona is much closer.
much closer.
Yeah. So why Sturgis?
Why Sturgis? Okay, now I can speak on this because before I might have asked the same question. Well, we've got rallies way closer. It's not about the rally. It is about the riding up there for sure. I got to take in Devil's Tower in Wyoming. That's about 2 hours, less than 2 hours from Sturgis. You've got Spearfish Canyon. You've got Custer National Park. You've got Mount. Okay, I got to watch myself. Mount Rushmore. I keep wanting to say Mount Everest, but that's a whole different challenge
Right,
altogether.
exactly,
And a
exactly.
lot colder, I think. But yeah, Mount Rushmore. So you're going to see a part of the country that at least I've never been in and was just blown away. The nature, the wildlife, the conditions is just perfect for the biker. So I'm going for the riding. Now, the rally part, like I said, I was on the setup team, so it was me, the locals, and the other vendors coming
Right,
in to set up. The bikers really hadn't arrived yet,
right.
so in that way, I kind of liked it because no offense to the rallies, but I've worked a lot of rallies. I'm kind of over that part, and this was a chance. I mean, it was a ghost town, and you really get to see how much this 84-year-old rally impacts this local community because once a year,
Right.
they so rely on these bikers coming. It was interesting. I did get to meet some locals who had told me during COVID the town met and everything, and they said we're not having Sturgis. And then half of the other town was like, it's not up to you. They're going to be coming. There's
Right.
probably no better social distancing than being on a bike in the middle of nature. So whether you like it or not, they're coming. So they said, yeah, you're right. And sure enough, they did. Sturgis Rally never stopped during COVID. So, yeah, it's a really a good experience up there. But yeah, I was lucky enough to kind of have it without all of the crazy chaos of the bikers and really just me, my team, and the locals.
Wow, that's cool. All right. Well, since this was your first time at Sturgis, What were your first initial impressions, and what was your original experience that you thought it would be in your mind? Was it different than what you thought it would be?
I guess I really didn't think about what it was going to be like because when I got up there, I mean, moved to tears. Sometimes you just come over these hills and there's a gully and it's just you just think God's country, and the whole entire time, this land is your land, this land is my land. Like through my brain, the whole time was the soundtrack. But I guess I never really experienced how the magnitude of how vast everything is, how the plains are, how the badlands are. I mean, and these structures in nature. I think that was the different part. And then I didn't really realize how small Sturgis actually is. I mean, this is a town of like
Right.
a couple thousand people, maybe.
Right.
I never got the total population, but it's under 5,000
Yeah,
for
right.
sure.
Right.
So, you know, you think in your mind like Sturgis, oh, it's this huge rally and it's this little bitty place.
With a 500,000 bikers showing up
Right,
to
yeah.
have fun for a week. Well, what was your best experience?
Definitely the riding. We worked so hard, and you know, the payoff every day. We said, no matter how tired we are, guys, we are only out here to do this once potentially, so we got to make it count.
Right.
And so I was with Jay from South Carolina, Joe from our Dallas area, or our Houston area. We had Chris Littoral,
Right.
our regional manager, and we would just do the best riding. Like I said, Devil's Tower, Mount Rushmore. But our team building, I mean, talk about team building. You don't get better team building than that. So we would work hard all day together and then play on our bikes all night riding around. And it was really just us. There was no other traffic. Bikers weren't there yet.
Right, exactly.
So it was
You had
just
the whole place to yourself?
yes, it was unobstructed. It was great.
Now, I hate to ask you this, but what's your least favorite thing about Sturgis?
Okay, well, I will say I was not prepared for the crosswinds. Definitely a terrifying experience, but I've unlocked a new level of riding skill for sure. I didn't realize when you are out, you know, I was going to Sturgis, from Sturgis to Spearfish. So you're out,
Right.
you know, in the middle of nowhere in these plains and these South Dakota winds whipping across. And no matter how much you're leaning in and doing every trick you know, sometimes you're just saying, all right, Jesus, take the handlebars because this is up to you and just hope for the best. And the scary part is to get through the wind the best and to get through it fastest, you got to go the fastest. So you're not,
Right,
you know, so
exactly.
that's even more terrifying. You're going top speed in this hydroplane of wind where you're being forced off the road and you are battling. And I can't say enough about the power of what that detachable windshield would be for me next time I go.
Okay.
A note to self, put that in my arsenal.
Yeah, we actually see some winds here. Not much, but especially if you go across the
The
bridge
bridge,
over here.
yes.
Every now and then you'll feel the winds that really rock you. But one of the most interesting stories I heard a long time ago was when Jesse James and some of his guys, he just finished a build. He was going there. He said, we're going direct. We're going nonstop. Hang on. And there was this one lady that was with him. She had never ridden in crosswinds before. And she made it about halfway. And she says, I'm going home.
Oh, it is
And
so
she
scary,
said,
Paul.
She said, I'm not ready for this.
Right.
And he said they really were bad. And he said there were times they just had to stop and sort of collect themselves a little bit because
Yeah.
they were just so tired of
Yeah.
fighting the winds.
Oh, it's a battle. I'm on a Street Bob 114, no windshield, and
And all that power.
and all that power. But the riding I did do, I was very proud of myself. Like I said, I battled the crosswinds and won. But I also did the Iron Mountain Challenge, which is, you know, like 300 something twists and turns and pigtails, and it tells you on the thing once you finish it. I did it twice. So I was really proud of my riding skills out there. I'd never ridden in some of those conditions, and I feel like I listened to all the hot tips that everybody was giving me. I took that. I actually went to YouTube and like Googled riding in extreme winds and different conditions. And so I feel like with all of the education and actually doing it, I am a much better rider for it.
Good. Well, since you were part of the setup team, did you actually get to experience Sturgis with all the bikers in town?
No.
Or y'all left before that
So,
happened?
yes, I was there from about July 21st. I stayed a couple days after. I think our last day of work was the 29th. I stayed a couple days, but Sturgis was August 2nd through the 11th, and I think I was out of there by the 31st.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't get to see the
I didn't get to
real-
park with the rest of them, but
Okay.
yeah, and I would have liked that experience maybe for a day or two. Like I said, I'm kind of over the rally thing, but I would have loved to seen Sturgis in its full bloom, you know?
Yeah, especially because it's very scenic. That's with all the bikes.
Yeah.
And of course, all the roads are full. I saw the pictures that you posted on Facebook, and the roads were basically deserted.
Yes.
You know, and you're thinking, this is going to change in about a week.
Right.
You're not going to be able to even park a bike, much less see the street. So I
Right?
can imagine. Well, since you were part of the setup team, and you weren't there during the rally, but I bet you went over this in all your preparations. What was the intent of how was Law Tigers wanting to connect with the bikers? Just a show of strength that, hey, we're here for you, or did y'all have any like meetings or stuff for the bikers? Hey, if you've run into this problem, let us know.
Yes, absolutely. So we just a little bit of our history. Law Tigers has been around about 23 years. We started out of Arizona and primarily across the country now, barring a few states, Pennsylvania, Maine,
Right.
just to name a few. There's a few sprinkled in there, but we are pretty much nationwide. And that's the thing. We want our brand out there. We want to be top of mind awareness to let bikers know if you go down, we hope it never ever happens, but if you do, you call us. It's a free case evaluation. We're all bikers. We know what to fight for. All of our attorneys ride. In fact, our owner of our company, Ari Levenbaum, he's a hamster.
Wow.
Yeah, and he it's important to Law Tigers to not only support. He's on the board for the Sturgis Museum and Hall of Fame as well. So we are embedded not only as a business, but also bikers, things that are important, things that matter, and a support of that community. But yeah, being top of mind. And Paul, I do have a couple stats for you, which is why
cool.
motorcycle safety is so important, and that's what we try to push. The safety aspects.
Sure.
We're always trying to give tips on our social media pages and really get it out there. And we're a free case evaluation. You have nothing to lose. So it's likely a chaotic time just getting hit. You might have injuries. You might be in the hospital. But it is a free case evaluation to run it past our attorneys and see if our help is the help that you need. And likely it is because we've helped a lot of people in the 23 years. So this is what they had. So for this Sturgis Rally, it's the 84th annual, included 35 accidents with injuries, 54 without. So 54 plus 35. You're good at math. So it's one of the last year's totals was 64 and 58 respectively. So 12 people actually died from their accidents. 3 were wearing a helmet, 7 were not. And 2 are still remaining under investigation. So, and if you've been following social media, it's one biker down after another.
Right,
Watch your people, look after your people. Not only in our area, but especially during Sturgis. I had several claims. I had several case evaluations that I submitted. So, definitely be safe out there. It definitely happens to even the best of riders. A lot of people they think they've got safety in the bag. It's not your fault always. They're coming for you whether you know it or not. So just be safe out there is what we try to say. So that's really our part with Sturgis. We've been doing that with Sturgis, I believe, 21 years now.
Wow.
And we've, part of our work is putting up the big inflatables
Sure.
on buildings, bannering everywhere, and just hopefully getting enough swag in their saddlebags to, if they do go down, they pick it up and they say, oh, Law Tigers just gave me this. Let me call it, 1-800-LAW Tigers. Oh, here's what to do in an accident. Here's on our, rider wallets that we give out. So we just try to give as much information to help you out when you need.
Good. I'm going to stop right here just 1 second. Allie has been here several times with us, and even though has only been on, I think this is your 3rd or 4th podcast.
Yeah, I think 3rd.
We did one little call-in thing
Yes,
from
a
down
remote.
in Daytona, a little remote thing, and that was actually pretty cool. I sort of enjoyed that. But the thing I am most impressed about is their lawyers ride. In fact, when they have their meetings, I think in Arizona, when you have your annual meetings,
Yes.
everybody brings their bikes, everybody rides. This is not a group that's out there saying, "Oh yeah, we're riding." No, these guys really they stand up to it. And I know Chris rides.
Yeah.
I love it.
We
UST,
all
he's got-
ride like beasts.
So
We
everybody
love it.
rides there, and this is not a sponsored podcast. Law Tigers gives me nothing other than come in every now and then they'll give me some pins or
Hugs.
something like that. But the pins are for our customers; they're not even for us. But as far as being sponsored, this is just something that we are doing as more of a public service to the bikers out there because we've had bikers go down this week. You pick up your phone and biker down, biker down, biker
Yeah.
down, and so we've got to watch it. We've got to be there. And like I say, sometimes it's the biker's fault. But when it's not the biker's fault, that's when you can depend on people like Law Tigers. They know about bikers, and it makes it so much easier when you walk into a courtroom and you're trying to do stuff or negotiations with insurance companies that the biker has been there and knows.
Yeah.
And so I think that
And we
is
know
very,
bikes,
very-
we know values, we know
Yes.
riding gear, and
Right.
we compensate for all of that. Not only your medical bills will negotiate those down, but we'll also address getting your bike replaced, getting your helmet, your boots, your glasses, your gear, the whole works. And that is all encompassing. And a rider knows that's not a cheap buy,
no,
all
no.
of those things. So,
No.
you definitely need to work those into what you deserve back.
Were they expecting about the same as far as number of people showing up for Sturgis this year? Or were they expecting more or maybe a little less?
Everybody was saying Sturgis, so next year will be the 85th, will
Right.
be the anniversary year. So everyone was saying it's an election year, the current economic state. I almost said, with Bidenomics, but as everyone's referring, but the current economic state, election year, and then next year being an anniversary year,
Right.
they thought maybe everything was going to be a little lighter. I don't know what the stats actually said. I know a ton of people went out to see Jelly Roll. He was a huge draw this year, so I know that was definitely packed. But yeah, it's interesting. I would say with gas prices and all of it, I'm curious what the numbers would be.
You ready to go back?
Yes, I did. I've already volunteered to be on the setup team again, especially since I now have been there. I've talked to the people, I've made the friends, and I'm ready to go back and build those relationships. So, Law Tigers, send me back.
Is there anything we can do?
Yeah, right.
We'll tell
It
them,
was
Allie is going
a petition,
there you
picketing,
go.
rioting.
Right, there you go. All right, so now you've had your first experience. What's your one takeaway from being at Sturgis this year? I know it in a limited capacity because you were there before the bikers got there.
Correct.
But you could probably feel the emotions and the activities starting to build, especially you weren't the only one setting up. Either.
Right.
I mean, there were tons of other people there setting up as well.
Yes.
What's your one takeaway from Sturgis?
My one takeaway is probably going to be the importance of riding gear. Making sure you have the right stuff for the right conditions, whether it is hail, which it did
Did it
while we
really?
were out there. It poured, Paul, so hard. I mean, it is insane. I wish we could insert a video right now because to see this rain out there, it was just insane. That turned into golf ball hail size little, yeah. So, you need your cold weather gear, you need your hot weather gear, you need your wind battling gear, you need the right eyewear, your helmet, of course. We saw the statistics of what's
exactly,
going on.
exactly.
Wear your helmet, especially out there. I had to stop for wildlife. I was coming up over a hill and was immediately stopped when I'm not sure if they were elk or caribou, but they were definitely bigger than a deer and had the rack to prove it, was crossing the road. Now, we're used to seeing wildlife early in the morning or at dusk.
Right.
This was noon on
Middle
a
of the
sunny
day.
middle of the day, middle of the road, and we're on their time. So, and then it was funny because my phone was actually in my backpack, and I was like, can I sneak back real subtle and get, and I said, watch that be like, lady gets gored by elk trying to take selfie. And I'm like, I never want to be that person. So I didn't take the picture, the photo op, but Yeah, you just got to be ready for the elements out there. When you go to Daytona, you want to bring your swimsuit, you want to bring your kickstand puck
Yeah.
because you got sand, you got
Right.
gravel. Those are the things that you're bringing down there. When you're going to South Dakota to Sturgis, you're bringing. And I see why a lot of people trailer because there's so much stuff you have to bring. Um, you got to bring your coats. You got to bring your everything and just be prepared because you don't want to be without. I saw a lot of people buying rain suits, buying things out there. But I guess that's what when the vendors make money. So
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Our motto here is all the gear all the time.
yeah,
And I know there's debate about the helmet laws and debate about this, that, and the other. It's just like in the state of Alabama, if I'm not mistaken, flip flops are illegal to ride with
Right.
on the road. But you see it
all
you
the
see
time.
the shorts, you see the tank tops and stuff like that. We have a picture on another website that we used to produce years ago, and it is about this lady out in Texas who was actually thrown off her bike, and she had tank tops, she had shorts, and the temperature on the road they said was somewhere around 108 to 110
Oh my
degrees.
gosh.
She broke her legs, her hips, her pelvic bone. She could not move. She said she's literally hearing her skin sizzle on the pavement.
I never would have even thought about the temperature of the pavement.
Yeah. And so anyway, so we
Oh,
actually published
wow.
that, and she's fine now. That's been several years ago. But one of the next pictures you see is her in a full riding suit, full helmet, gloves, the whole deal.
Before, after,
Exactly.
right.
But she
Wow.
had some horrendous scars from that, and just a lot of recovery time. But you don't think about some of those things like that, like, wait a minute, I can't move. Nobody's here to help me. Now my skin
Right.
is sticking to the pavement.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
And here I'm guilty of all of the
All the above.
aforementioned because you're like, but I want to look cute, Paul.
Yeah, and I'm only a block away from the house. I'm
Right.
just going to run to the
But
store.
it matters. See,
It
you
does.
taught me something today. Oh,
Yeah.
I got one more
Sure,
takeaway.
absolutely.
If you're out there, every chance, even if it's just to top off, because you just topped off, get gas
Everywhere you go.
everywhere you go. Because sometimes you are looking down and you're thinking, oh boy, am I going to make it? Actually, when we were riding at Devil's Tower one day, I went out there twice, but the first time we went out there, one of our teammates was a sport bike rider and going fast and everything. Well, we were kind of conserving our gas and energies because it turned out he couldn't, we had to kind of turn around. And it's not because of him. I mean, we all were kind of in the same state, but the way he was riding was burning up his fuel a little more when you can't afford to do that. And we said, we can't go farther to Devil's Tower. We'll get stuck there. And there is really not a lot of gas stations. So just fill up every chance you get.
They got these neat bladders now that are foldable, so when you're through with them, they just roll up. But they're perfectly they're approved by the government.
Oh
And
my
so you can get
gosh.
them like in 1 gallon, 2 gallon, and 5 gallon bladders. And so you just strap them down with your bungees, and then you use it first, and then you take it and you roll it up, and it packs neatly away. And so that's
Wow.
a great thing for maybe next year that you look at that.
Definitely. Let me add that to my
'Cause an
list
extra
here.
5 gallons will help you.
No, that's good stuff. I need to consult with you before my next Sturgis trip.
No, I probably need to consult with you. I've never been there, and it's not that far to Daytona, so I'm in good shape with a lot of gas stations along the way. Listen, she has got to go. She's got a huge territory, and she stayed over in Mobile last night so that we could do this. And I am so appreciative of her and Law Tigers for allowing her to do this. But she's been able to impart to us, not just through these podcasts, some really neat things, but you see her adventures. But she also talks about Law Tigers. But then after we turn the cameras off, we have something in common. I used to be in radio broadcasting years ago, and she did too, except she was in radio and TV. And so we talk about the good old days and stuff like that. But it's this type of information that needs to get out to the bikers. And the reason is if we can help you from going down one time, or if you go down one time, hopefully you're never hurt and never need their services.
Right.
But just know that there's somebody here to help. And if nothing else, they're here to help first, and then they'll worry about the case and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
that's
the first thing is
true.
get you back on your feet, get things going your way, and then you can start discussing the other things. But just know that they're here to help. And like I say, They don't pay us a dime for doing this. We enjoy having Allie here. The
I
information she
love
gives
it
us is
coming
great.
here. Yes, it's bringing me back to my radio days. I get to play radio with my friend Paul.
Yeah.
So this is good. Yeah. And I also want to say, we always say, we want to be the friend that you never call. But when you
Exactly.
do, we are there for you, and 1-800 Law Tigers will get you there.
Great. Thanks. Allie, thanks for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thanks, everyone. This is Paul from Rosie's 1901 3200 Halls Mill Roll in Mobile. And hey, we have pins. We got some swag here that,
Yeah.
and especially these things. These are priceless. You can keep your tag receipts. You can keep all your personal information in these. And we have a couple other little gifts that she's given us to give away to our customers, too. So stop by Rosie's 1901 3200 Halls Mill Road here in Mobile, and we'll see you later. Thanks.